Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. So, can anyone tell me till how much I have covered in last class? How much we covered in last class? Advantages of dynamic compaction. Okay, till advantages we have completed. And it's okay. Thank you, Rubila. Okay, let us wait for 5 or 6 minutes. Then we will start. Okay, I think we can start. Almost 8 minutes, more than 8 minutes. So, in our last class, we have completed dynamic compaction. Since we have done till advantage, so nothing is left after that. So, anybody, any doubt in dynamic compaction? If no, then I will proceed to the next topic. Anybody having any doubt in the part of dynamic compaction? Yes, no, anything? No. Okay, fine. So today we will do preloading. Next topic is preloading. Is my screen visible? Can you see the screen? Can you guys see the screen? No.
Oh, we cannot.
Manish Das is saying yes. I think now it is visible.
Um,
Visible? Okay.
It's visible.
Okay. Thank you. So about preloading, in last class, previous classes. I mean, I have told you a little bit about preloading. So, did anybody remember what is preloading? Did anybody remember what is preloading? You can write it in the chat box. Giving external load on the soil before. Yes, exactly, Tashi. So, preloading of soil in its simplest intent is merely applying an external loading for a long duration to cause desirable changes in the soil. So I have told you before, it is the application of external load for some duration, for generally it is for long duration, to bring the desirable changes, whatever changes like settlement, you want to reduce, you want to increase the bearing capacity, remove the poor water for these purposes. Conventionally, preloading is usually carried out before construction of any structure. However, this can be installed even under semi-finished condition and even after completion, such as in case of liquid storage tank. So before I have told you it is generally used before construction of any structure. Okay. But in some cases, like if it is a liquid storage tank like this, and some then other storage tanks and all, uh, we can do the process even when the work is semi-finished or it is completely finished. In case if we are applying this process for completely when the work is completely over, this process can be applied only in case of storage tanks. Okay, then and it should be generally of liquid storage tank, that is what. But in most of the cases it is preferred to apply the process before construction only. If the thickness of fill placed for preloading is greater than that required for final ground surface elevation, the excess fill is termed as surcharge fill. Now, this is an important term, surcharge fill. Two more question may be asked, what is surcharge fill? So the fill material that you are applying for the load, if you are using some fill material for applying the external load, and that then the thickness of that fill material is more than required, then that extra load or the excess fill or that extra fill is termed as surcharge fill. Okay. Then we move to this preloading methods have several advantages in comparison with other methods adopted for improving ground support. So these are the few advantages over other methods. The cost involved is comparatively less and vary between 10 to 20% without using vertical drains and 20 to 40% with the use of vertical drains. So before I have told you that if the depth of the soil or the depth of the layer where we are going to use this preloading system, if the depth of the soft soil or the weak soil is much more, then only preloading is not enough. We use vertical drains along with preloading. Okay. So this is what is said. If we don't use vertical drains, if we use only preloading, then the cost it varies from 10 to 20%. And if we use vertical drain along with the preloading, then the cost increases little bit and it is 20 to 40%. Especially attractive when the fill material after completion of preloading is subsequently used in the same project as fill material or for site preparation. So the fill material is brought from some external place, external source, and suppose after the work of preloading is over, for a certain period you have applied the load and now the work is over and we need to remove the preload or the load or the fill material, you can say whatever, if, we need to remove it now, then after removing those fill material we can use those remaining fill material in some other work in the site, okay, like site preparation and all. And simple conventional construction equipments needed for earth moving job is sufficient for preloading works. Nothing much high-fi equipments are not required. Simple the equipments those are required for moving the earth like cranes and all. Those equipments are enough for preloading system. Preloading, okay. Then cost of monitoring instrument are cheap and time needed for installation is only 2 to 3 weeks. So I hope you have understood. Then effect of preloading can be observed periodically from the field instrumentation and makes possible future prediction about the behavior. So when preloading is applied, then the work or the settlement or whatever occurs to the soil is observed periodically, and from that observation we can predict about the future behavior of the soil, whether it will settle much or not, or the settlement will be within tolerable limit or not. These things we can predict to some extent. Then provide uniform improved properties of ground. So of course after application of this technique, wherever you have applied the technique, it will provide improved properties, and those properties will be of uniformly same. The characteristics of the soil will be uniform throughout. Is it clear till this much, everyone? Any doubt till this much? I don't think it is much here, it is much to explain or anything. If you have any doubt, I can go through the line, whatever is there, wherever you have the doubt. Tashi, only Tashi. Other than Tashi, anybody else? Rest of you? Okay, okay. So next, let us move to the next part. The decision to adopt preloading technique will be quite reasonable and successful when the following conditions are satisfied. Now there are few conditions which are to be satisfied for the application of this preloading technique. Okay. So there should not be any base failure during preloading or during operation of final structure. See, we are applying external load with the help of some fill materials and all, but the base, where the base is weak, so there may be base failure of the soil. Okay, and I hope everybody is clear about base failure. These things you studied in your fifth sem and sixth sem. So the base failure should be avoided also during the operation of the final structure. When you put the final load of the structure, when you construct the structure, there should not be base failure. Okay, if the base failure is there, then ultimately it will be useless of applying the technique. The duration of preloading should be within the time allotted for construction schedule. So all of you know, if a project is given to you to complete, then you are also given certain time period, that within this much time period, like 1 year or 2 year, if it is a big project, then some more time. So depending on that. So depending on the time period, the preloading technique should be applied. Okay, it is not that the most of the time is consumed in applying preloading and now you're unable to construct the structure. Your time limit is khatam. Okay, time limit is finished. So these things should be taken care of. Okay, it should satisfy the construction schedule. There should be no damage to the adjoining structure. Means the structures those are already constructed nearby, they should not get damaged. Suppose you are applying the fill material for the loading and the settlement occurs to such an extent that the structures which are nearby are also getting the soil under that are also getting settled and some kind of changes are occurring in the structures, then there will be a problem. Okay, then there should be no undue disturbance to the nearby communities. Nearby communities whichever are settling, they should not be get disturbed and all. Settlement after construction should be within tolerance range. So after applying preloading, the soil will undergo settlement and required consolidation will be achieved. Then after putting the final load of the structure which we construct, then the soil should not should not undergo any settlement actually. And even if it undergoes settlement, it should be within the tolerable limit. Okay. So generally a total settlement of 40 millimeter differential settlement of 20 millimeter is allowed for columns. Okay, remember these things. Tolerable limit, so that those tolerable limit of settlement is okay, but it should not be more than that. The cost is less as compared to other methods. So for this, in the preloading, the cost is less. Already you know these things. Nothing much equipments are not required. Only the earth moving equipment is required. Then we can use those fill material for other purpose work in the same site. So you can say it is much economical. Okay. Then preloading principles. Now we move to what is preloading principle. Preloading increases the pore water pressure in the soil as consolidation process occurs. An increase in the effective stress takes place in the soil accompanied by surface settlement. So preloading, it increases the pore water pressure, and when pore water pressure will increase in the soil, and when the consolidation process will start, and what are the changes that are brought in the soil, these things. Okay, effective stress increases, then surface will get settled. That is, so the preloading material placed over the ground to be improved in amount sufficient to produce a stress in the soil equal to that anticipated from the final structure. So how much load as preload, or in the preload technique, how much load you are going to apply, how you will decide that. So this decision of applying how much load you can take from the load that is going to be applied after the final structure is constructed. Suppose you are going to construct a building or something. I am taking the example of building only. So if you are constructing the building, so obviously you will design that building, you will calculate the loads and all, and you find out ultimately how much load is transferred to the soil. So you have an idea. Now that much load of preload you have to apply as preload. That much load you have to apply as preload before constructing the structure, so that the surface undergoes the required settlement. Okay. Then we remove the preload and we apply the final structure's load. Okay. The time required for attainment of full consolidation varies directly as the square of layer thickness and inversely as the permeability. So this point you can mark it. What is the time required for full attainment of consolidation? For attaining the full consolidation, the time, how it is related, it is directly varies, it is directly proportional to the square of the layer thickness. Okay, the layers, it has thickness, and whatever layer thickness it is there, it varies directly to the square of that, and inversely to the permeability. Okay. Thus, preloading alone can be sufficient only when thickness of layer is less and more construction time is allowed to the development of the project. Otherwise, surcharge fill may be successfully used. So, since this preloading time required is directly proportional to square of the layer thickness. So this preloading we can apply if the thickness of the layers or the layer thickness is less. Okay, if the layer thickness is more and time given is less, after finding the time from here, we can it's okay if they have got disconnected. I can't allow them. Okay, now and only after stopping the screen sharing I can allow them. So it's okay, no problem. They can see the recording later on. How many of them are there? Only Tashika? Only Tashika is waiting, I guess. Okay. So where was I? Okay, that's preloading alone. Okay, if the layer thickness is less, then only we can and the time required is more. We can apply only preloading. Okay, and time how we get? We will calculate the time required from here. This time required will calculate here by this formula, that is square of the layer thickness and divided by permeability. Then we will see the time that is allowed in the schedule, construction schedule. Then if this time is less than construction scheduled time, that means you have more time in your hand, so you can apply preloading system alone. And also the thickness, layer thickness is less, then you can apply. Okay, and how much layer thickness, in how much layer thickness we can apply preloading, I have told you in previous classes. I guess I didn't remember well. I guess it is 15 5 to 5 meter or like this something. And if this time is more than the scheduled time, then what we can do is we can apply the surcharge field. Okay, surcharge field we can apply, and also we can use vertical drains for more efficient process. We can use vertical drains along with the preloading, and that process would be little bit costly one than this preloading technique. Okay? Then you see what is there is a coefficient of surcharge, the ratio of the weight used, the ratio of the weight used for preloading to the weight of the final structure to be constructed. Okay, many students are there, I think, in the lobby. Messages are coming. Let me stop sharing and let me enter them. Wait a bit. Can you see the screen? Please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So the ratio of the weight used for preloading to the weight of the final structure to be constructed on the improved soil is called the coefficient of surcharge. Okay, this point you mark it is an important one. Question may come, what is the surcharge or what is the coefficient of surcharge? This types of question will come. Then the higher the value of m, means the coefficient of surcharge is denoted with symbol m, with the alphabet M, the less time required for consolidation under full preload. Okay, higher the value will be M, the value of M will be, the time required will be less. On the other hand, values of M leads to more construction time and expense for preload heat and more attention to be paid for stability. So the value of M generally varies from 1 to 2. Next is preloading methods. Before that, any doubt till this much? I guess it is clear to all. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Clear to all till this much? Okay, fine. Okay, great. So next we move to preloading methods. Now there are various methods of applying the preload. First is heaping of fill material is most common method of preloading. In some cases, the material is left completely or partly and the removed material may be reutilized in the same project for another preload or for embankment construction. There is danger of base failure in heaping fill material. Still, this method is generally adopted as it is less costly and for all types of structure and locations. So, can anybody explain this point? There is nothing much. Everything is repeated here. What do you mean by heaping of fill material? Heaping. Anybody who can explain this point number 1? You can unmute yourself and speak, or if you want, you can write in the chat box also. Anybody? I'm not getting any response. Are you guys there or not?
Ma'am,
Hmm.
heaping actually it's a process, ma'am.
Hmm.
Process, yeah, it's a process where we put some material.
Hmm.
Uh, we taking some material from somewhere and put it in some other places to, to give the strength of the soil,
Okay.
or to build something. To actually, in simple manner, it means to give the uh, to make a base actually,
To make a?
where we can base base where we can construct, where we can construct the structure.
Okay, exactly. We cannot say to make a base. Okay, base will make and will this make the layer uniformly distributed. Okay, so good, very good. Heaping means putting something or soil layers one above the other. Okay, and so that it applies load to the soil or ground below. Okay, it may be the fill material, may be soil brought from some other place or the rock materials, whatever. Then in point number 2, in normal practice, the most frequent method of preloading is embankment loading. In most cases, 3 to 8 months are required from the beginning of embankment placement to the end when load is removed. So, by making the embankment also, the load can be applied. And then after certain period, we can remove that load. Okay? Then number 3, in another method of preloading, the final structure is used as vehicle for load application. This method has been extensively applied for liquid storage tank. Okay, this meeting is going to end in 5 minutes. So I think within 5 minutes, I guess we can complete it. So in normal practice, the most frequent method of preloading is embankment loading I have done. Okay, in another method of preloading, the final structure is used as vehicle for preload. And here what is done, the final structure that is to be constructed is used as preloading. And this is generally applied in case of liquid storage tank. Okay. Then actually what is done prior to taking up soil improvement, the tank is constructed and then it is filled with water incrementally. Okay. Suppose some amount of water you have added, kept for some time, and then some more amount of water is been added. Okay, and every stage of additional water loading, the completion of consolidation is ensured. So in case of liquid storage tank, we use this, we keep the tank and we add water to it incrementally, the incremental process. And then after the required amount of consolidation is achieved, we empty the tank is made empty, and the tank is removed from that place. Then we construct whatever suppose we need for keeping the tank, some layers or something stand we want to make, we can do it, and then we can keep the same tank in the place. Then another most effective method of preloading is by lowering the water table provided the soil condition permits. So where the place where the water table is high, we can apply this method. Okay, we need to lower the water table. We can dewater the place. We can remove the water by certain dewatering processes. Then we apply some load so that the work of preloading is increased and the efficiency is increased. Okay, and this process is applied in place where the water table layer is high. Then another method is inundating or ponding. So this method is a kind of hydrocompaction method. Okay, this is done where water table is low. Point number four is done where water table is more, means high, and point number five is done where water table is lower. Okay, then what we do, we apply water in the site. We keep the water for a certain period so that the loose bonds between the between the soil particle is broken, and the load is applied from the weight of the water. Okay, this technique is termed as hydrocompaction. It is not written here, you can write it hydrocompaction. Okay, compacting with the help of water, hydro. Okay, next is Gelman proposed a vacuum preloading method. So Gelman is a research scientist of geotechnique. So he proposed this vacuum preloading method. With the application of vacuum pressure, the preloading, the soil is compacted. Okay, vacuum preloading method. It is termed as vacuum preloading method. Then another is jacking, is another procedure adopted in preloading. So jacking, it is another method, and this method is mostly applied to individual footings. Okay, either the footing of maybe of a new building or some existing buildings. And jacking is a standard method of preloading. Generally it is used in case of piles and all. Okay, so is it clear to all? Is it clear to all? Please respond. The meeting is going to get ended. Okay, fine. Thank you. So if you have any doubt, you can ask.